Since the new regulations came into play at the start of the 2022 season, Mercedes have not looked at their usual selves. They dominated for so many years, and seeing them struggle in all of those years was a real rarity. But now, it is a very common sight to see them struggle at the track. As we speak, ever since the new regulation started, Mercedes has only taken away one win, and that is not what they expected from themselves at all. Many people believe that 2022 for them was just a one-off, and that in 2023 they would be able to be back at the front of the grid fighting for wins once again. The team seemed positive going into the 2023 season with high hopes of making sure that the W14 was like previous cars, like the W11. However, this was not the case, and so far in 2023 they have not looked to improve from 2022 at all, and in some cases they look worse compared to how they ended last year. Talk from the team has been one that once the first upgrade package comes in, they will be much better due to how the concept of the car will change a lot. In today's video, we will talk about where the first upgrade package of the season takes them, how now having them come in at Monaco and not Imola may damage them, and how they might be copying their rivals in Red Bull due to how they have nailed this new raft of regulations. Let's get straight into it, shall we? To start off with, we of course are going to talk about the reasoning why you clicked on this video in the first place, and that is where exactly will the new Mercedes upgrades take them in the pecking order. Right now, it is hard to say exactly where Mercedes are in terms of pace with the rest of the grid. Sometimes they are the second quickest car, such as what we saw in Australia, or sometimes they can be the fourth quickest car, as we saw in Baku, for example. It is a three-way battle between Mercedes, Aston Martin and Ferrari for who the second team is behind the Red Bulls. Of course, Mercedes would hope that the upcoming upgrades could make them the fastest car on the grid, but the team are being realistic, and they know that the Red Bull is currently miles ahead of them. In truth, they hope that these upgrades to the W14 make the car much easier to handle for the drivers so they can extract better performances out of it. When they get the car in the right window and set up, such as in Australia, they can look quick, but due to how the car is, it is hard for them to do this. But regarding the pace compared to everyone else around them, they hope that they can pull a gap between them and the Aston Martin and the Ferrari. They want to win championships, and it is what they did for so long, so they will not just settle with having the second quickest car if these upgrades work really well. They will be happy if these upgrades do make them the second best car, but they have to build on what these upgrades can do, not only for next season, but also thinking about 2024 in the back of their minds. It is almost impossible that they win the championship this season, but they do aim to be back fighting at the front next year. And if they find what works this season early on, they can take the data and information when they will be building the 2024 car in the near future. Even though we are very early into the season, the teams are already thinking about what they will do next year to get ahead of their competition. And Mercedes is no different to this. Overall, it is very hard to call where exactly these upgrades will take Mercedes regarding pace relative to everyone else. We're sure that the goal for them is to be ahead of Aston Martin and Ferrari, who realistically they should be beating due to how they performed in recent years. Where do you think that the Mercedes upgrades will take them? Will they be ahead of Ferrari and Aston Martin? Or will they actually fail in their purpose and not actually improve the team's pace? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Our next talking point of this video is about how the delay in the upgrade package coming into the track for Mercedes could harm their progress. The first major upgrade package was due to come in at the Imola Grand Prix, but as we all know by now, that race was cancelled due to extreme flooding at the track. So that means that the upgrades were delayed and pushed back until the Monaco Grand Prix, which is a very different track to Imola. Monaco is a very high downforce track, and it is one of a kind track, and the setup of the car will be very different to any other race in the season. This means that Mercedes will not be able to see what exactly these upgrades have done for their performance compared to if they brought them in at Imola. Of course, they will still be able to collect good data, but it will not be as good for them as it will be hard to compare to its previous tracks to see the difference. It is not the most ideal situation for the team at all, but it was needed for the race in Imola to be cancelled due to everyone's health and safety. Mercedes will not be fazed by this delay for their upgrade package, but they will hope that they can make sure that their car is ready for Monaco and any future races. They will want to put out a statement out there, and in Monaco could be a good place to do so if they have a good qualifying. It would be almost impossible for other cars to overtake them, so they have to have a good weekend which they can build up on. Overall, this delay to the upgrades coming in at Monaco will kind of annoy the Silver Arrows, but they have to take it into their strides, and we will have to see what kind of pace they will have in the streets of Monte Carlo. Our third and final subject is how Mercedes could possibly be copying their art rivals in Red Bull so they can improve their own individual performance. Red Bull looked good last season with them winning both of the championship, but this year they look even better and even more dominant with them just storming with every single race. In the past, everyone would kind of copy Mercedes, some more than others, especially Racing Point in 2022, who pretty much copied the Mercedes car from the previous year. Now, it is natural for the other teams to copy the top team, and it was Mercedes, but now it is Red Bull who everyone is looking at and interpreting their own designs, to say the least. Last year in Spain, it looked like Aston Martin had copied Red Bull, and it seems like this year they brought the same design over, and look how quick they look. Mercedes have spoken about how they will ditch the no side pod approach, and they will go for another design. It is said they will go for a more Red Bull design, and you can understand Mercedes for doing this. It seems like the Red Bull side pod approach is the quickest, and why would they not want to have the best possible car that they could? It is very ironic for a team that was being copied by the rest to then go out and copy the top team now they're falling off the pace. But Toto Wolff seems not to care if his car looks very similar to the Red Bull. He just wants it to be fast, and that's all he cares about. Red Bull, of course, will be very annoyed if Mercedes come to Monaco with a similar car to them and then go on and beat them. And you can understand that. Copying the best team is something that we have all seen for decades in the sport, and it's something that Red Bull will have to deal with, as they are now the best team on the grid by a mile. Do you think Mercedes will be able to copy the Red Bull and have a quick car for the rest of the season with another side pod approach that nobody has ever seen before? Let us know what you think about all this drama in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this one.